Hari Om. Start with the prayer. Om Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhusya Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravidam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Amadeva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Rudeva Deva. Hari Om. We are now looking at the final instructions by the teacher. Since now you have understood by the Vedanta what is the essence of Vedanta, that is essentially the Mahavakyas, that you are the totality, you are Sat Chit Ananda Swarupam, and Sat is a Chit, Chit is Ananda, and they are not really attributes of Satchidananda, they are only pointers in the direction pointing out. It is that which is eternally existing, and therefore existence can never cease to exist. So Sat Eva Nityam, Nityam means eternal, and that which is existent, therefore it can never cease to exist. Therefore, and anything that is not changing or anything that is changing, that is only temporarily, and in all the changing things there has to be changeless entity. So one has to look that I am the world, that is the existence, I support the whole world, and I am a consciousness, and because of which I am conscious of the changing world, as because of which I have knowledge of the world also. So one should have a clear understanding of I am Satchidananda, and that abiding in that knowledge of that is Swanubhavam, because it is Aparoksha Jnanam. I am the totality, not that I don't experience any time. It's not an experiencing the triad type or Triputi, but it is an experience. Is Anubhavam is mentioned in the sense that it is your own self. Therefore, it is Aparoksha Jnanam, not Paroksha Jnanam or Pratyaksha Jnanam. It is not directly there, or it is remotely there, because it's your own self, and all knowledge takes place because of your presence only. Without your presence there cannot be any knowledge at all. Now what about you? You cannot objectify yourself, therefore you are very subject, because of which all knowledge is taking place, and there is never a time you don't experience yourself. Only problem is you think yourself is as this is an object, and you are not. You are a subject, and subject cannot be an object. So a clear understanding that I am pure Satchidananda Swarupam is Swanubhavam. Claiming that I am the totality, claiming that I am Ananda Swarupam, and this is logically and scripturally also, and even by Anubhava also has to be. So Swatmanubhutva, we are now taking 479 of the Viveka Chudamani. Swatmanubhutva Swayam Jnatva Samatmanamakhndam Samsiddha Susukam Tishten Nirvikalpatmanatmani. So Swatmanubhutva, Atmanubhutva, having gained yourself by your own, by claiming myself, I am the total. Swayam Jnatva, knowing myself, I am the totality. Swayam Jnanam. And so Atmanam Akhanditam, that which is without any breakage, that is Akhandam, that is unbroken, and that is means it is infinite. There are no parts in that, and that recognition, Samsiddha Susukam, gain that Susukam, that means the blissness that you are longing for is your own self, coming from your own self, and Samsiddha, and recognize that Tishtan Nirvikalpatmanatmani Tishte Nirvikalpatmanatmani. In the Nirvikalpa Atmani means in the thoughtless state. Nirvikalpa means thoughtless state. Tishte, abide in that knowledge. So Nirvikalpa means essentially in spite of the thought. People want to suppress the thought in order to recognize it. That itself becomes another problem. It is not the absence of the thought, because if the absence of the thought, whenever the thought comes, then I am not myself, that's not the correct understanding. It's not the absence of thought, it is there in the absence of the thought, and it's there in the presence of the thought. And the absence of the thought, what is there is the mind, which is silence, but mind silence silent mind itself is an object of my observation. By who? By the mind itself. Mind, observing the mind which is silent, is essentially in the process of recognizing that Pratibodha Viditam Matam. In every observation it is revealed. In the observation of the silence also it is revealed. In the observation of thoughts also it is revealed. So I am beyond Sakshi. Neither the thoughts can disturb me or thoughtless state is required also. So here it is essentially Nirvikalpam, means in spite of the thoughts, recognize that I am a thoughtless one, that is no thoughts in me, or thoughts are only in the mind, and I can perceive, be a Sakshi of the thoughts also. And that recognition has to be done by the Swanubhutva, by shifting my attention to that Sakshi Bhavana, that is witnessing consciousness, that I am the witnessing consciousness, and the witness keeps changing, and I have nothing to do with what is changing, but other than the witnessing. In my presence only things are changing, but even those changing things are also me only, has to be recognized too. And in the last sloka, last instruction by the teacher, 418, Vedanta Siddhanta Niruktiresha, Vedanta Siddhanta Niruktiresha, Brahmaiva Jivaha Sakalam Jagatcha, Brahmaiva Jivaha Sakalam Jagatcha, Akhanda Rupa Sthitireva Mokshaha, Akhanda Rupa Sthitireva Mokshaha, Brahmadvitiyam Srutaya Pramanam, Brahmadvitiyam Srutaya Pramanam. So here he is emphasizing in the end that recognize that it is the Vedanta Pramana and there is no other way you can reach that state. So Vedanta Siddhanta Niruktihi Esha, Esha Niruktihi. This has been Nirvachanam. Nirukti means Nirvachaniyam, that which is clearly established by the Vedanta only. So what about other teachers who have not studied Vedanta, but there are great sages in the other religions also? It is Vedanta is the ultimate truth, and the ultimate truth is there is only one, and as long as they recognize this, that is essentially what Vedanta is. The ultimate Veda means to know, and that is the highest knowledge, and that whoever teaches it becomes a Vedanti. That which is agreeable to Vedanta, we accept that. That which is not deviating from Vedanta, we don't accept that, irrespective of who says so. So Vedanta Siddhanta Niruktihi, that which is established by the Vedanta Siddhantam, by established by the Nirvachaniyam, that is clearly defined by the both Mahavakyas and Avantara Vakyas. Avantara Vakyas are Adresham, Agrahyam, Agotram, Avarnam. All those slokas that are pointing out in the direction are Avantara Vakyas, and Mahavakyas are the ultimate truth, and that is Vedanta Siddhanta Niruktihi Esha Brahmaiva Jivaha, Brahma eva jiva. So from the point of Brahman, which is infiniteness, infiniteness cannot be divided because it's infinite. There cannot be divisions in the infinite, and therefore Sakalam Jagatsa, the entire universe, the whole universe, Sakalam Jagatsa is Brahma eva, and Jivaha is Brahma eva. Therefore Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara, all divisions have to resolve into one, and that resolution is that which is Ekameva Advitiyam Brahma, and that is Brahma eva. And that is Akhanda Rupaha Sthitihi, that which is unbroken, undifferentiated, homogeneous, existent consciousness, and being infinite, it is Ananda Swarupam also. Only limitless alone is Anandam. Any limitation causes the unhappiness. Therefore, Akhanda Rupa Sthiti eva mokshaha. That moksha is liberation. So what is liberation? Liberation is where desa kala vastu parichinnatvam is not there. And this is the fundamental observation, that whatever the moksha, nirvana, or whatever you call it, has to fit in, because it cannot be a place, it cannot be desa kalam, it cannot be time wise, and it cannot be object wise. There cannot be any differences of that, because time, space, object even are there in the even deep sleep state, and still you are happy in the deep sleep state, but there is no knowledge of Advaita there. So here Brahma Advitiyam, that Sutaya Pramanam, that which is Akhandam, that which is unbroken, and that homogeneous Satchidananda has to be recognized, and that is recognition has to occur with the mind only, where with the mind I have to recognize that it is beyond the mind, and because of which the mind is also activated, and not only the mind is activated, existence of the mind is also due to that only, because it is supports everything. His mind is there. If it is there, that means mind exists. That means existence is supporting the mind itself. That's how the scripture started. Existence alone was there before creation, and it became many, both the subtle body as well as the gross body. So the mind, buddhi, ahankara, everything is nothing but Brahman, because they cannot be away from Brahman. Avidya is also in Brahman. Vidya is also Brahman. But from the pure Brahman point, a recognition and a claim that I am that pure Satchidananda is the real knowledge. So moksha is freedom from all limitations is moksha. Moksha means it should be limitless, and limitless is only moksha. So it's not going somewhere, going to some other place for moksha, then again it's not here and it is there. It's limited by space wise, and there is a hierarchy of jivas there also in the moksha. Then again object wise limited, and the space wise limited, time wise limited. So those that cannot be moksha. Moksha is freedom from all limitations, and that cannot be at any particular time. It is right here and right now, where right here and right now are beyond the space and time also. So akhanda rupa sthiti eva mokshaha brahma advitiyam shrutaya pramanam. For this Brahma advitiyam Brahma, Shruti alone is pramanam. That which is Vedanta becomes a pramanam, because it addresses both the jiva and jagat, both the subject and object. So all other, the objective sciences only look at the object and analyze the objective sciences and claim that that is the only science, ignoring that the objective sciences cannot be known unless there is a subject, and the subject is a conscious entity, and they cannot analyze the subject because the tools that they have are not amenable or measurable in terms of what the subject is. So subject-object duality is there. Without the presence of the subject, object cannot be established. So existence of an object is established by the knowledge of existence. That's why scripture talks about nama and rupa. Nama means name. Name involves knowing. Knowing involves a subject, and that involves a conscious entity. Rupa is attributes. Attributes belong to an object, and therefore the whole world is nothing but the rupa, the attributive content has to be known through a subject, and subject-object duality together is bringing in the knowledge. Therefore existence of an object is established by the knowledge of existence, and therefore Brahma Advitiyam, that pure existence is Advitiyam Brahma. So therefore Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma is defined in the Taittiriya Upanishad, and in the Chandogya it's defined as Sadeva Saumya Idabagram Asit Ekameva Advitiyam. It is Ekam Eva Advitiyam. It is one without a second, and that is pure existence, and Krishna claimed that that which exists can never cease to exist. So law of conservation of existence is prescribed by, in fact, Krishna himself in the second chapter. So that Brahman is Brahma Advitiyam Sutayaha Pramanam. So with that final instructions, the teacher says, now you go and contemplate on the teaching. So now he has instructed that now using this knowledge, now you have gained the knowledge, using the knowledge, contemplate on the truth, and sit in one place or go into the secluded place and contemplate on the teaching itself until you claim yourself, I am Satchidananda, and then come back after that. So with that, the final teaching is over from the point of the teacher, the final instructions are over, and the student goes into seclusion or into his own place where now he doesn't need a teacher. Teacher has done his job. Now he contemplates on it and comes back into the, when we take up the next class. We'll see how the student responds after that. With this we stop here. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम।